What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate business into a life of freedom. We're talking about what to do when you have all kinds of buyer leads and zero listings, which is what a lot of agents are experiencing right now in our market, regardless of where you're at. Some have it worse than others. And so we're going to talk with our special guest, Don Cunningham, about how to deal with that. And we also take your questions, whether it's live here on Facebook or whether you are submitting questions through the Facebook group, lead gen description objections, and all kinds of good stuff. We've got a bunch of stuff to get into, as always. So the junior grandmaster himself is here with us in the co-pilot seat where he so belongs. Greg McDaniel. Greg, what's up today?
What up, player face? Man, we are rocking and rolling. It's going to be a good day. Matt is coming in and sliding in with his hair on fire. The man is on fire. He had 2 podcasts ahead of this. He's been shoveling nuts down his face, trying to put some chocolate in there, trying to get up and going, get that energy level. I'm caffeinated beyond belief. I don't know how many shots are in this thing. I'm ready to go. And Don's been shaking his head at us going, why do I hang out with these two?
That's right.
But we're going to make it fun. And Don's going to drop it like nobody's business. This guy, if you guys haven't seen Don before, guys, he was introduced to me, Don, it was last year sometime, like summer of last year or something. And guys, he is such a phenomenal coach for agents that are coming into the business that want to add value to their bottom line. He really understands, the agents and what they need. So if you guys are looking for a coach, I'm deadly serious. I don't make anything off of this, but Don is absolutely incredible. So just come in, sit your ass down, take out the pen, write some notes, call Don, then go home and hug your wife and kids.
Thanks,
unless
Greg.
they're Matt's kids and they smell.
Thanks, Greg. You're awesome too.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, well, Don, officially welcome back. We appreciate you being here with us today.
You bet. Thank you.
So there was a question that I spotted that I think would be a good place for us to start because it's an interesting situation, and I think we'll run into it. You definitely run into it occasionally, although I'll explain why it doesn't always come up. So this is from Shauna. This is on the lead gen description objections, and the objection is basically the FSBO said, she's talking to the for sale by owner and basically makes the point, if I could net you more money, even with the commission, would that be something that you're interested in? Of course, in this particular instance, they actually said yes. Please come over and show me how you're going to make me more money working with you than what I would work, by selling it myself. And they are priced spot on, she feels like. So the for sale by owner managed to get it right, and they're actually priced pretty well with the market. So in today's market, we're seeing a lot of for sale by owners sell because there's so much demand. And we'll get to the low inventory in a second. But Don, let's just speak to how that agent can handle that situation where she's going into an environment where the FSBO is already priced according to what she feels like she would price it for. So how do you present yourself as adding value and being able to make them more money if they're priced right on and they actually have a legit chance of selling on their own?
Well, first of all, I think that when you look at those kinds of scenarios, I wasn't quite sure whether or not she was on the phone or if she'd actually looked at the house itself. If she was just on the phone, how can you say you're gonna net them more by hiring me and paying out 7%? I think that's kind of a mistake right off the bat, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
One of the things that I tell my clients is, look, if you're trying to list a for sale by owner over the phone, you're probably barking up the wrong trail. Bottom line is that if you're trying to list a for sale by owner, how do you even know you want to list that property? So I kind of focus on for sale by owners just a little bit differently. Your goal is to get in front of that client. And so if you are, you're a student of the marketplace, then one of the things that I like to tell them is look, I find, you're talking to the for sale by owner themselves, and obviously they've got it for sale by owner. Mr. Jones, one of the things I pride myself in is knowing the marketplace. And if I'm not trying to list your house, not trying to do anything, just want to be able to know what is out there. It would take me 10 or 15 minutes to walk through your home, take a few notes, and I'll be out the door. Would you mind if we sat down and talked about or allowed me to go through your home? I've got an opening at 2 and one at 4. Which one works best for you? Bottom line is, for sale by owners have a tendency to be extremely overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the unbiased opinion that we as realtors come to the table with. So they think their stuff is the best on the market. It's way better than the house down the street, and they're selling it by themselves to do what? To save 7%.
Yeah.
Well, every buyer of a for sale by owner is looking at it the same way. There's only one 7%. Buyer thinks he's going to get it because that's an easy discount right off the top of the price. Would you agree? So you don't really know whether or not you really want that listing. When you can go through it, you can have a few minutes to create some rapport. That I think that gives you a better opportunity to even decide whether or not you want to fight for this listing.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So in other words, by saying that right off the bat, she's kind of backed herself into a corner where, yeah, there might be situations where you have a hard time justifying them, that you can make them more money because, you don't necessarily know that you want to list that property to begin with. So don't back yourself into a corner by saying that right up front until you've seen it at least.
One more thing with regards to that is oftentimes agents will approach us, and usually these are probably more rookies, but hey, Mr. Jones, I see you have your home for sale. Would you be willing to pay a commission if I brought you a buyer? Well, you just cut the commission from 6 to 5 or 6 to 3, whatever it is. So whether or not you have a buyer, and most of the times people don't have a buyer for that house, whether or not you have one, when you say that, the guarantee is that you will never get that listing because you're plan B in this guy's pocket. Worst case scenario, I can call Bill. He'll do it for 3%. He already told me. So that's just another thing I get concerned about when people do that. So never talk commission over the phone and never offered a discount. That's
interesting because Greg, you and I have talked about this before, just the concept of having commission packages, and you don't call them that necessarily, but you do have a couple of different levels at which you serve people. And I like the idea of having that because it does give you a good out on the phone to not talk about commission, because you can always come back with, well, we have a couple of different, packages or options. We can talk about that if you want to have that conversation about actually putting your home up on the market. It's a good way to kind of deflect that question so you don't get sucked into the commission conversation on the phone, which is where a lot of agents do get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I actually do, which is a little bit different when it comes to working with for sale by owners or make me moves or anything along those lines, is I actually come at it a completely different direction. If I think their home is priced right and I think they want to sell it themselves, first I clarify, would you be willing to pay me a commission if I brought you a buyer? Yes or no? Fantastic, great. Here's the catch. I don't want your listing. And they're going to be like, Because what I come in with them and I say, look, this is how it's going to roll. What I want to do is I want to come in and I want to shoot a live Facebook video of your home. I have a pretty good following. I want to get it out to the people, the other agents, and or buyers that might want to see this home that might not be aware that it's here because they're not actively looking in different places except for the MLS. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to give you some specific. I'm not going to give the address or the address or the street. I'm going to give a generality of where it is. Now, if you want to be on camera, that's great. If not, that's great. But I'm going to shoot a video. I'm going to hype it up. And then I'm going to filter them back through me, all the buyers, so that I can be the BS meter. Once I've verified that they are real, I'll get them pre-approved. If they can't afford your home, then we'll set up a showing, and then we'll come in and we'll help you sell this home for as much as we possibly can. Would that offend you if I was able to help you sell your home? People turn around, of course, so it's not going to offend them, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this video. I'm going to upload it to my video editors over at Viral Marketing. They're going to chop it up into a Facebook ad for me, and then I'm going to blast it out for $50 out into the ether of Facebook to draw them back to me for, fill in a squeeze page. I get through conversion, and then see if they're interested. Welcome to the show, Bandito. If they're interested in actually buying, great. Now I understand. Now I know exactly what they're looking for and what they can afford. Good Lord, Cat. But that has been very effective. Everyone I offer that to, nobody gets upset about it. Nobody is, like, what the heck is going on? They're just like, wait, you're going to do this without even asking for anything in return? I'm like, that's exactly what I'm saying. I am going to offer my services just to help you find a buyer. And people are really open to that. They love this idea because even if I'm not able to get the home sold. Well, what the good thing is that, gosh damn it, cat. Look, pal, get over here. God. If we can't bring a buyer in and they find out that this is too much of a pain in the ass, well, that's easy. All I do is I build rapport. I'm paying it forward into that bank account of goodwill. So either I'm going to help them buy or sell that home. They might just say, Greg, here's the listing. I can't take this anymore because I've already given value. Or they're going to say, hey, look, my sister Rachel, is looking to buy or sell or something like that. I become the realtor of choice just because I've done things that other agents haven't done, won't do, couldn't do, didn't think of. And it opens up a whole new sphere of influence that I didn't have access to before just by going out, taking this handy-dandy little phone and shooting a quick little video. But you're going to use it in multiple different ways down the road. So that's kind of how I go after them. Zero pushback. Absolutely zero pushback. So it's a little bit different. It's out of the box. That's kind of where I live. I color outside the lines as much as possible.
Yeah. And Don, I like your approach because if it's focused on rapport building first and really taking more of, I guess, the way a true business owner would look at it, which is that until I've seen it in person, I don't really know that I even want to list it. So rather than taking the approach of trying to get really when you're trying to get a listing over the phone, you're essentially only ever going to get the absolute lowest hanging fruit. Right. You're not really going to get the listings that you probably want. And so I do like that. I think that's where yours and Greg's approach both have in common, which is that it's all about building a relationship and you understand going in that it's a process. And so that it's basically you're never going in with the intent of trying to list it over the phone. The intent is to start the relationship, and then the end of that relationship may lead to them calling you up and saying, hey, go ahead and come on over. It's time.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're not going to create. You can't create rapport with a for sale by owner or an expired. To be honest with you, when you've got 50 other people calling them and saying the same thing. So it really is. First thing is, I don't want to list your house. Okay. Right. I just want to know about it. Or what Greg does, basically, he has to be face to face with them in order for them to, buy into what he's trying to offer them, which is fantastic, actually. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure how you get from there to a full listing, but you're the host, Greg. So.
Oh, I'm just listening. What I'm doing is that I don't give a shit about a full listing. I don't. I give a shit about a full paycheck. So if they're gonna pay me my 2.5% to 3%, dude, I'm sweet. Let's rock and roll. And if I can use something that's a free resource to me, Facebook Live, and I already subscribe to Viral Marketing, and they can do the editing for me, then great, I'll do that. That's my thing. Paycheck over listing is my priority. It's great. Ego is amazing, but what's even a better ego boost is after you get done with that, then you go live with these clients and be like, hey, I'm gonna interview you, and you just kind of tell about how I helped you sell this house that was non-conventional, but tell them what the end result was. Obviously, if it was positive, but it's about getting the dollar. If you guys are looking for the ultimate listing, that's another discussion, because when it comes down the pipe when it's for sale by owner or expired or whatever, when they see that this is a full-time job and understanding the new contracts and what are the idiosyncrasies of writing the offer in this county that you're located in, and what are the next steps, and what are the potholes you could fall in, once they start walking down that minefield, they're going to need an advisor of some point. So it's a long-term relationship building action that I'm trying to take here. It's not just the one-hit wonder, get the deal and move on. It's try to help someone, hopefully get the deal, and if from there, build a rapport and build out and just build into those different sphere of influences. Because when you throw a pebble into a pond, it ripples out. But if you can throw a bunch of pebbles out there with all these goodwill you're doing, they're going to start overlapping. People are going to start, hey, this guy, Greg McDaniel, called me about wanting to do a Facebook Live on my house and just help me sell it. Yeah, that guy called me too. How'd it work? That was great. Yeah, he was amazing. Just get the word starts getting out there. So maybe their sister, mother, dad, cousin, grandma, best friend, neighbor, whoever might want to do some real estate. I'm trying to be top of mind. That's the whole thing moving.
Yeah, and I think with what you're saying, I think it does make a lot of sense. And when I threw out the comment that if you go in for the 3% or 2.5% or whatever it is, that's what people are doing. That's all they're doing.
Right.
What you're doing is you're sitting down and you're basically committing to do a video, Facebook Live. You're big on Facebook Live. So you're really giving them something of value way before they ever, way before they ever even ask you for anything. They're not. There's no cost to it. So I like your idea. I like it.
Oh, good. I appreciate that, Don. It's what a lot of agents do with for sale by owners. They're the analogy, like you're at the bar and you see the hot chick, you just go try to stick your tongue down her throat. You're probably gonna get slapped and slapped with a restraining order. That's why people hang up on you. They don't. You're moving in for the kill too quickly. We got to build the rapport. You got to go on a first date, see if you guys like each other, then go on a second, aka do the video, then help filter them. In worst case scenario, guys, if you don't, find anyone who can buy that house or they sell it without you, guess what? You just found other buyers that want to buy those types of homes, and they're working with your dumbass. Right. So it's a win on multiple different levels here.
Yeah.
But people don't look at it. They only look at it at the listing. I want listing. Well, forget about listing. Look at bringing the buyers in. Sphere of influences, all the buyer pool. Now you have something of value. Now the other homes that are expired or make me moves that are like this property, well, now you got a whole pool of buyers that are right here. You can go out to the other for sale by owners and Visbos and expireds and everyone else and be like, look, I have these buyers. Let me bring them to you.
Right. Well, it's been 18 years since I sold real estate, so that was before the internet and Facebook and all those good things that we've got today.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things I used to do with for sale by owners was I would go in and I had a nice for sale by owner sign created for them. And on the back, where it was facing them, it said, from Don Cunningham at 2020 Properties or whatever. But there was no exposure for me. It was just a nice sign. Back then, people would throw up for sale by owners that they got at Fred Meyer's for a car, that crappy sign. So anyway, but
I
said it's been a while ago.
I love that idea, though. I've never even thought about that, but that's a beautiful thing. Like, hey, you guys are trying to sell it yourself? No problem. How about I put a sign? I'll give you one of my signs for sale by owner, right? But I love your sign. Brought to you by Don Cunningham at this number. So every time they look out of their house, it's like, brought to you by Don Cunningham. Oh, yeah, Don. Cool.
Yeah. Just a reminder. Just a little reminder.
All right. Well, let's talk about listings for a second, because there's a good question here from a gal named Katie on the Lead Gen Scripts group, and she says, what's the best way to get seller leads being a new agent? We don't have many expireds on a daily basis, and she can't door knock at 9 months pregnant. My recommendation, my first thought is, what are you doing with your sphere who knows that you're pregnant? It would be okay with just having a chat on the phone or grabbing coffee or something like that. Like, work the spheres first before you worry about anything else. Don, what's your advice to brand new agents that really can't, get out and hit the neighborhoods hard at this point?
Well, first I would tell her to wait at least a month. It's a tougher scenario, because you look at the way that, and I don't want to box anybody in, but you look at what we have a tendency to call these like Century 21 and Coldwell Banker and those guys who are really prepared to pull people straight out of school.
Okay.
And they put them through that. And one of the things that they do is they give them a farm area and they can start broadcasting their stuff out there, door knocking and so on and so forth. Listing leads are to me, we got to go back to rapport. How am I going to make connections with people? At 9 months pregnant, like I said, wait a month or two, because it sounds like it's any minute. And then once you're capable of doing this, and this, I don't know that this is a great idea for, what was her name?
Katie.
Katie. Mm-hmm. I've seen agents who will go door knocking with their kids. It's going to be a while before Katie can go with her child to those. But again, at some point when she's, acclimated back into real estate gig, going door to door, dropping something off personally, to me is still the best possible way to do it. You have to use good common sense in doing that, especially in, I don't want to put anybody in a bad light, but especially women going door to door. Use common sense, have somebody with you, make sure somebody always knows where you are, that kind of thing all the time. But do it on a Saturday. Do it on a Saturday between 10 and 2 or something like that. But to do it during the week, I think is kind of a waste of time. You could pay somebody to take and knock and drop stuff. Probably just as easy to do that. Your best and your warmest, obviously, is your sphere of influence, and they need to know that you're in real estate. And you'd be surprised how many people don't tell their sphere until 2 or 3 years down the road. They either assume everybody knows, or some of them are lazy, some of them just don't put it out there. And you've got to send a letter, you've got to follow up with a phone call, that kind of thing. Listings are tough today. We see it in every market across the country. There are very few pockets where listings are coming in abundance.
Right.
And I'm not always sure why that is, but there are places, and we were talking briefly before the show about Boston, and Boston, I know Boston market a little bit, and one of the things is that people don't move, and they like Boston. They don't move out of Boston. Whereas you look at Southern California, it's like almost like a mad race to get out of California.
Well, we've got people like me moving from the Midwest scrambling to get in.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. Yeah. And that's an interesting question, because that's what came up on our coaching that kind of kicked off our conversation. So we're coaching one of our agents on the team yesterday. Was it yesterday? Monday, on our weekly. Yeah. So we have a Q&A conference call every Monday morning, which is essentially open. So any of our agents can dial in, and they just get direct access to me and Greg, and we'll answer whatever. So it can be live coaching. It can be marketing strategy. It can be literally anything. What we were talking about on this particular one was someone that was dealing with that kind of a market where people don't tend to move out. They just move within that market. And so he's running into like the fact that he has buyer leads at a certain level, but no listings to sell them, right? So you either have a couple of choices. You have to go pound the pavement, pound the bushes for more seller leads, which is one option, or you go and you try to find different types of buyer leads that are maybe looking either in a different area, or they're looking at a higher price point. They can afford more to push those sellers out by making them a more compelling offer. But right now what he's got is just a mismatch, right?
Right.
So we're just talking through some ideas, for how to do that. But Don, you've been around the block and have seen low inventory environments, maybe not quite to the level that we have now, because this is unique in our economy, but we have been through cycles that are similar before. So what do you advise your clients to do anytime you're dealing with a low inventory environment where you have lots of buyers who want to buy?
Hold on one second. I want to go back to the pregnancy thing, because I know you guys were chatting away, but I want to get back to that, how that she could do some marketing off of it.
Right.
She's 9 months pregnant. Okay, she got big ass belly, dude. Get some funny shirts made, or do some like creative like art on her stomach. Like my family's growing, is yours? Need a new home? Play around with it. I think that being creative with it is going to get a lot of interaction and reaction. It's not saying straight up, hey, I'm a real estate agent, but it's also using a big major life event that people are going to relate with. Uh-huh. And, women and men are going to be, oh, it's amazing, you're pregnant, when you do, blah, 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 we just had twins, yada, yada. It gets that conversation flowing, but you can also have some fun with it, and you can later use it for marketing tips, as maybe she's going to have this is her first one or second or third or wherever she is in that whole process. But I just see a lot of funny art that can happen with that, and a lot of good rapport and a lot of good interaction with it. So that was what I was going to say really quickly, just because it's fun and out of the box.
Yeah, that's great. What was the question?
Oh, okay, getting back to the question. So how do we deal with matching up, and let's talk more about how do you proactively go out and get go out and get seller leads and listings in an environment where the homeowners, and maybe you as the agent, might actually believe that the best thing for them is to stay put. So that's kind of the main thing, is because what's going on in his area is causing him to believe that for the most part it might be best for them to stay put, or maybe at the best case scenario, kind of like your area, Greg, it might be best for them to sell at what might turn out to be the top of the market, go rent for a couple of years, wait for things to shift, and then come back into the market as a buyer when things have gone down. To me, that sounds very logical, but I think it's hard to I think agents probably psych themselves out quite a bit over having those types of conversations. And it doesn't sound as compelling to get somebody to put their house on the market when your proposition is, hey, sell, and then go rent for a couple of years. So I'm curious your perspective on that when you're dealing with a low inventory environment, so that we don't psych ourselves out and just end up sitting on the sidelines going, it's just not the right time for people to buy and sell.
Well, we had a conversation before the show, and the one thing that I would say is, are we always the best judge of when it's the right time to sell? For the one thing that you said a few minutes ago was, they're going to wait until they're at the top of the market. Well, nobody knows where that is. If they did, we'd all wait until that specific day, sell, and then we'd be in Fat City.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we have opinions. We develop opinions in our own marketplaces, and I like what Greg was saying earlier, because one of the things you say, if I don't think it's in their best interest to sell, I'm going to tell them it's not in their best interest, and maybe now is not the time to sell. I think we have to take just a step further and find out what their objective is. It's one of the things that I do with every seller to begin with, is to try to find out what is their end goal. What are they looking to accomplish? Because if it's about money, buying or selling high and holding on to see what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years, very well can be a very smart idea. It's a sacrifice of having your own place, but it's a very financially, it could be a very wise move on their part. On the other hand, if they're trying to move up, it may not be the best financial move, but that isn't always the question. The question may be, am I willing to pay the additional dollars that it may take to get my home and get my family in a bigger home, have a swimming pool, whatever it is that, rocks their world. And then from that point forward, making sure that they understand what's going on in the marketplace right now. So I don't know it's always just quite so cut and dried, but I do know that there are plenty of places out there, and one of the places that we talked about was Boston. People don't move out of Boston for whatever reason. At least that's been my experience. They like it there, and there's neighborhoods that are just so quaint that they don't want to leave those neighborhoods. You got a challenge. There's no doubt about it. You got a challenge, and that may be your challenge for that marketplace at that particular point. The only other thing that you can do is go out and talk with individuals, and again, it comes down to rapport. It may mean that you've got to spend more time and work harder to make a living in your marketplace than you did 2 years ago. So it's not an easy answer, believe me. So anyway.
No, it is definitely not an easy answer, but it's also an opportunity as an agent. A lot of us, a lot of people in general, but a lot of agents feel entitled. They like, I'm in real estate. I should get listings. Well, no, you fucking shouldn't. You get what you work for, not what you deserve. You don't deserve your next breath unless you take an action to fill your lungs full and then exhale it out and keep doing that on a repetitive basis. That's why you perpetuate life. Same thing in business. A lot of us, we start something, but we never continue it. Like we start a marketing program and then we stop. We start a morning routine, then we stop. It's like going for a walk. If you go for a walk and then you stop halfway or 3/4 of the way out there and you expect to get home, but you're not moving anywhere, it's the same thing, but we do it mentally. We stop a mailing program because we're not seeing progress, or a campaign on Facebook, or a sphere of influence, or some sort of action. But once you stop it, you don't get anything. But if you don't stop, you don't fail. Like if you start a walk and you don't stop, you'll come all the way back. Lord, I don't know what I'm trying to fucking say.
God
But
willing.
Lord willing, I blame this. Double shots. What was I thinking? Holy, my heart is beating like a lab rat right now. But I will say this is the fact that when it comes to having a challenge of inventory in your marketplace, this is when you get to be creative. This is when you get to go out and do new things and trying new, options for getting listings. So, I mean, go out and take a look at the system called Coop Out, COUPOUT.com. Coop Out. It's like $30 a month, $20 a month, or something like that. But you can go out, go make relationships with business owners, push out their discounts onto social media for $5-10, do 2 or 3 a month. The guy who started it said that he would get 1 referral a year per business that he would push out on using his system. So why not go out there, make good rapport? Again, it's getting into new spheres of influence that you weren't in before by doing something good for someone else. You know what? Maybe it's going and doing something creative and a little ballsy. Go out to a Make Me Move or a FSBO. Show up with a sold sign and say, "Hi, my name's Greg McDaniel, and you're going to need this when you work with me." And hand them the sold sign. Big old pair of brass balls. I mean, it's just being creative and getting out of the box, because everything that you've done so far isn't working. Otherwise, you'd have listings. So go out there and go try to do something new. It might not work. It might break. You might fall down. You might get embarrassed. But it might work. You might get listings. You might get referrals. You might pick up more buyers. But you won't know until you try.
Right.
And Don, I know, I know that you are with a lot of agents. What are some of the creative things that people are doing right now that you're seeing to get the word, out in the street about them, or get that new listing, or stay up with clients? I mean, are you seeing people doing creative things right now, or are you seeing them stay more in their boxes?
Well, we try to get them to move out of their box. Obviously, I mean, that's one of the things, because if you're going to do what everybody else does, you're going to get what everybody else got. And bottom line is we're looking for that top 5 to 20%. So, again, social media, advertising, marketing, lead generation, and all of those tools are geographic farming are still viable. I think you bring up some great points. You're a very creative guy. And so when you are focused in on one of those, the first thing that I tell my clients before they do it, because of what you just said a few minutes ago, people start things and then they quit when they're not working. Well, if you go back to NAR and just look at geographic farming, NAR says you're looking at somewhere between 23 and 25 months before you ever get any positive results. Now that's average, okay? So I have to be looking at my budget and going, I'm going to mail out to 2,000 houses. What is that going to cost me if I do it 12 to 14 times a year? And when will I get my return? The thing I always object to about those numbers, because I have much greater results with my clients, is when you sit down and you target and you make a decision that you're going to count the cost, you're going to do it on a regular basis. This is the biggest key, is consistency. If you are consistent, you're going to get results in probably 6 or 7 months. But if you expect to get it in 1 month, you'll be sadly disappointed. So some of those are, again, like I said, you're very creative. You should write a book on that. Some of those ideas that you came up with. I love that. I love the Katie's story, which has now been changed to "My Family's Growing." How about yours? I think that was a great.
And another thing, after she gets pregnant, she can have another sign like "My family grew," not "My family's growing." My family
Right.
grew. Is yours? Need another house? I need another bedroom. Did you? It could be a lot of fun just playing off of life changes. If she has other kids, buy stuff from All Things Real Estate, or go on to Amazon and buy some real estate shirts. Dude, use your little humans as little walking billboards. Okay?
Right.
I mean, dress those little fuckers up and be like, all right, knock, knock, get out there. My daddy needs a new listing. My mommy sells homes. Stuff like that. I mean, one of my ex-girlfriends, she has a 10-year-old boy, and that kid is precocious, let's put it that way. And he hits up everybody. He's like, so want to buy? You want to sell? My mom's a real estate agent. He got the crossing guard to tell him that her son wanted to buy a property, and brought it back to his mom. Goes, Mom, the crossing lady's son wants to buy a property. But I mean, it's the cute factor. I mean, Veronica here on the show is saying that her broker told her to take her kids out, right? Take them out and dress them up like Halloween, but it's real estate Halloween. I mean, put a little like fake house on them, walk them around. You want to talk about conversations? Holy cow! You got to bribe them probably. Yeah. Lots and lots of candy.
Yeah, anytime you take kids out, I mean, as long as they're well behaved and so on and so forth, and people appreciate that. It gives you a much warmer opening with people. Same thing. If you got a dog that doesn't bark, that can be cute too. Someone who's not going to chew on somebody the minute they greet them, but stuff like that is very, very useful.
Yeah.
And then timing.
I actually took years ago. I was kind of like test driving a boxer to see if it was going to be a good pet. Don't take boxers door knocking. Just FYI. They tend to be quite overactive. But I mean, a cute little Chihuahua, not go for it. You know. But I mean, just look at the cute factors. People love puppies and kids, and so if you can emphasize that, do it all day long. But I mean, I love the creativity that people can come up with. Just look for things that don't belong or should be there, right? If you see something like Katie's belly, that's a canvas. Use it, play with it. There's a life event that's taking place, which is going to add another human being to that household. How can we leverage this event? If you go to a mommy's play date or like a Lamaze class, make friends with all the ladies, get them all shirts, take a photo together. Like, hey, our families are growing. We can help yours too. I mean, just have fun with this thing, and that's the biggest thing.
Just as you were talking, one of the things I was thinking, it's just wherever you go, advertise. Not necessarily your company, you as a realtor. Whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's a sweater, whether it's something, give people a reason to ask you. What, who is that? What is that? What do you guys do? That kind of thing. So anyway, that was interesting.
Like I wear my Lagunitas IPA shirt and or my hat or something like that. Matt, where were we going? We were going somewhere, and we were having someone to go speak. Oh, we're going back to Detroit. And I was wearing my this shirt and an IPA hat. Dude, the people didn't address me by sir. They said, "Hey, IPA."
Right.
Hey, IPA, wait here and you can get a seat. I'm like, because I was going to a restaurant to get food. But I was wearing this hat. What hat am I wearing today? One Estella House. I'm wearing this hat right now.
Right.
But I also have some funny real estate shirts. Like you're saying, you can be a billboard and create conversations just by what you're wearing. The other day I was in the supermarket, and the checker, she asked me if I was in real estate, and I pointed to Matt, like, what gave it away? And we started talking. It turned into a referral because she's thinking about getting maybe potentially selling her house out in the Central Valley. So I sent it to the agent that works in the Central Valley for me. Uh-huh. It's just the opportunity to talk. And so many of us are secret agents, and the only good secret agent I've ever seen is James Bond, and he's a British Secret Service agent. I don't think you guys are having really cool shooting pins and flying cars and shit. You sell houses. You need to do it. Like if you're going to sell a loaf of bread, this is a Terryism, a Grand Masterism. If you're going to sell a loaf of bread, you can't keep it back in the storeroom and expect to sell it. You got to put it on the shelf, and you got to put it in front of people so the people will reach up, take it, go to the checkout, and buy it. Same thing with your services. They've got to know your services are there. Right. Otherwise, you will sit there and get moldy, and they'll eventually throw your ass away.
Right. Don't be a secret agent. Don't be a secret agent. Be out there. So
Matt's chuckling away at the moldy bread thing.
Yeah, I love that we followed that analogy all the way down. You're just moldy. Someone's gonna throw you out like an episode of Seinfeld, like you're the muffin stumps. Moldy muffin stumps. All right, and that's let's start wrapping it up because I think that's a great note to go out on. Everybody, if you're a secret agent, you're going to be a moldy muffin stump. That is the quote of the show. Don, how do people reach out and connect with you if they're interested in working with you?
Fidelity Coaching. My number, my direct line is 619-405-9698. You can reach me at don.cunningham@fidelitycoaching.com. Love an opportunity to talk to some of your listeners if they're interested in growing their business. have a very substantial success rate in the coaching field. Anyway, I'd love to talk to you, just see what's going on with you, what's going on with your business. We're about 4 months into 2018, 4.5 months based on the way that I track. And where are you in relationship to where you wanted to be at the end of December 2018? Really important factor. One of the things that I work with my clients is always knowing where you are, always knowing what's in the pipeline. If that pipeline is not filled, you're looking at some empty months with no paydays. And so we've got to constantly keep that filled, whether it's listings or quality A1 buyers, whatever it is. Accountability is something that when I look at coaching, most people use the phrase accountability. Accountability isn't me watching over you. It is the ability to, your commitment to meeting me every week or every other week, and are you on track? Did you do what was necessary to get where you want to go? Without that accountability, time flies, and without that, you can be right on track in January, and you'd be way off track by June if you just took your eyes off the goal. And so it's one of the reasons why I think we have such great success is because we have targets. We aim for them we chunk them down into bite-sized pieces. So anyway, I really appreciate the opportunity to pitch Fidelity, and love to hear from some of you.
Yeah,
so,
happy to
thank
do it.
you.
All right, guys. And then for the show, of course, as always, make sure to subscribe. You know where to do that: YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher. Greg, as far as joining up with us and partnering up with our team so that you get all the lovely benefits. What are their door prices? What do they get, Vanna?
Well, behind door number one, Matt, the reward's going to be, guys, what you're going to get, honestly, is you're going to get a crap ton of value. We're building a podcast product for you guys. You can create your own podcast. We'll show you how to do that. I'm going to help you guys put at least 50 people on your team in the next 5 years or less, to the people and associations and different companies that we're partnering with to make that happen. We're going to give you all of our products for free. We're going to get you in a couple of different masterminds. You can book time on my personal calendar, which is not open to the public, just to our team, to book coaching sessions, because the McDaniel Challenge is now over. After 2.5 years of doing that every single night, 4 nights a week for 2.5 years, it is now just dedicated for my team. So you guys can book coaching sessions on that at no cost. You can go wash Matt's car on Saturdays, or have him come to your house and wash your car on Saturdays, because he's a car washing fanatic. I mean, he's like an artiste at car washing. He even uses Q-tips to clean the inner rims. You guys got to hire him for that. He loves it. He's like a kid on Christmas when it comes to doing that for you. Just shaking his head like, oh my God.
Don't even know what to say to that.
But yeah, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Book 30 minutes with me. So it's bookmcdaniel.com. Book 30 minutes with me. If you think this is good content and good value here, wait to what we have behind door number one. Door number two is you're fucked because you didn't join us. Door number one is the one you want to go through. Okay? That's the door. Door one. Don't go to door two. Matt's kids are behind door two. Stinky little
they're hungry. They're hungry.
Those little hippos are hungry, man. You got to run for the hills, man. Gosh. It's dangerous.
Oh man, there's a great lateral thinking exercise I just stumbled across the other day. It was something like you have 3 doors in front of you. You have to go through one of them. One of them is like full of raging fires. The second door is full of tigers who haven't eaten in 3 years, and then the final door is full of trained assassins armed with machine guns. Which door will you step through? And after you think about that for a second, Greg, what say you? What's your first guess?
So I have raging fires. Like Inferno that would kill you, right?
Inferno, exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah, not a fireplace.
So we don't have house cats. We have tigers, full tigers.
Tigers that haven't eaten in 3 years.
That sounds painful. And then we have assassins, and they have real guns, not BB guns, right?
Real guns, yes. Not paintball.
I will take door 3, please. That sounds quick and painless.
Well, the question is not meant to test your will to live. Although if I would rather do that than being torn to shreds. That was my first reaction. Then I realized, wait a minute, Tigers who haven't eaten in 3 years are probably dead.
Dead.
And that's why you want to step through. That is it. And that's what makes it a lateral thinking exercise.
You tricked me, Matt. You tricked me. Trickery. Fuck,
that's right. You don't want to run into my kids after they haven't eaten for a day or two. That's when they're really dangerous. So those are your leg off.
Those are piranhas on 2 legs, man. Those little hungry bastards.
All right, guys. Let's put a nice bow on this episode, shall we, Greg?
Ooh. A masculine or a pink bow, Matt? What are you feeling today?
Let's go with the silver bow today. You asked for masculine. Yeah, let's put a nice silver bow on this episode.
All right, we'll put a silver bow on this thing. Don, you're amazing. Thanks for coming and hanging with us again for another hour. All of you guys that are watching us live and the ones that you guys are watching us on the replay and or hearing it in your earbuds on iTunes or Stitcher or anywhere else you guys listen to podcasts, thank you. We love you to pieces. We do this because we enjoy hanging out with you. We love bringing content, and I get to hear all the positive feedback. Matt gets to hear all the the requests for products to be delivered to him, and I'm like, I bathe in the appreciation. And I gotta tell you, when you guys contact me and you tell me that you guys have got business from something you learned from us, or it's inspired you, or you showed someone else the show and they did something, it warms my heart, and that's not a joke, to see you guys taking action on what we're delivering and then just making it happen in your own businesses. That's why that's what the podcast was created, to give free coaching and free content so you guys don't fail out of the business. And I love the fact that you're actually acting on it. So I love you to pieces. Matt loves you to pieces. Don loves you to pieces. And now we are going to be out of here. So as always, guys, peace out, ninjas. Go.